Hi all, this is the next video that we've got, which is for day 3 of the Cheltenham Festival 2011. Been shifting through the form today, and who would believe that in 6 days' time we'll know the results of day 1. All exciting stuff. But anyway, we're going to move on to day 3, which is known as the Ryanair Chase Day or the World Hurdle Day. Nothing against the festival, it's probably the weakest day of the festival, really. There's one less race, and I don't know, very competitive handicaps and stuff, very awkward to chip through. Anyway, the first race of the day is the Juzan Novice Chase, and the two horses I've looked at for this towards the top of the market, and that is Wishful Thinking and Captain Chris. They're both trained by Philip Hobbs and both for the same owners as well. Wishful Thinking is currently around 5-1 and Captain Chris is around 6-1. I don't think both will go for the race, but I think one of them will, so go with the one who goes. I personally hope to see Captain Chris here. He was a very fast finishing second to Medemy over this extended trip, and I think the 2.5 mile plus the hill at Cheltenham will be absolutely perfect for him. Saying that Wishful Thinking has been excellent this season, really good jumper as a whole, and seems to have a really good engine on him. So they're the two to look at there: Captain Chris at 6 and Wishful Thinking at 5. The second race is the mega competitive Pertemps final, where to qualify for it you have to have either won or got placed in some of the Pertemps qualifiers throughout the season. Been looking at the form on this. It's a very open race, and as every betting site will tell you, massive price winners of this usually. A couple of over 20-1 in the last 10 years. The horse I like the look of is Sivota, currently at 10-1, trained by Willie Mullins in Ireland. He's been 2 from 3 this year. Looks really good. I think the better ground will suit him, which he hasn't really had in Ireland, and I think he's waited to run a really good race. The other horse I like on here is Kill Creek Inn as well. He's run very, very well on the whole this season, including some really good runs at Cheltenham. He's dropped to a pretty good mark at the moment, and I think it's a good price, around 14-1 for the each way. Some bookmakers as well, like Paddy Power, give him first 5 on the each way on this as well, so that's definitely something to look out for. The other one which we've also got is, of course, Buena Vista, who I think won this race last year, 20-1 again. And I read an article of David Pipe today saying this is his main target of the season again. And if he runs up to what he did last year, I don't think the race looks as strong as last year. So I know he's another year older, but 20-1, proven course for him, could prove out to be a good each way bet. But I'm happy to side with Sivota on this one at around 10-1 currently. The first of the two big races of the day, the Ryanair Chase, is the Ryanair Chase. Interestingly, since this race has been run now, and I think it's either in the 6th or 7th year, only once when Alberta's won last year at 14-1 has anyone out the first 3 in the market won this race, and as a whole, the second favourites generally do well. Not for that reason though, but it's the horse I'm siding with here is the second favourite, and that is Tranquil Sea. He's had an excellent season in Ireland. You may remember a few years ago he beat very easily a very good field in, the Paddy Power Gold Cup, the Thomas Pink, or whatever it's been called over the years. And he seems to be really coming into his own. He's around 6-1, which I think is a great each way price. And that's the horse I'm coming down on the side of here. Others of interest are Kalahari King, stepped up to 2.5 miles. It's a very good horse in his day. Stayed on to pinch, I think it was 2nd or even 3rd, I'm not too sure which one it was, in the Champion Chase last year. Looked as if a step up to 2.5 mile was needed. Season's been interrupted a bit this year because of the weather and stuff like that. I would have liked to see a few more runs into him before he tackles 2.5 mile around Cheltenham, but should still run a good race. And then the other obvious one is the favourite Pukolan, who's won at Cheltenham before, got a very good record. Though I don't think his nature of racing will suit the style of this race. He puts himself right out the back and comes late. But I think of the horses that have won this in recent years, you're talking the likes of, obviously, Imperial Commander was very, very prominent. Last year, Alberta's run pretty much did it from the front. Fonmort, a great horse, was another one who raced prominent. And horses that race up with the pace around here do seem to be the ones that win it. The only way I can see people doing it is if he outstays someone on the running, but I think the likes of Tranquil Sea, he's proven clearly stays out the ship, and I'd rather have a horse racing more up with the pace, to be honest with you. So my pick in that one will be Tranquil Sea at 6-1. Then is the main race of day 4, World Hurdle, and I nearly fell off my chair when I just looked this up. Big bucks with William Hill currently is 5-4, and that is staggering price for such a quality horse. He was odds on last year, and nothing against Grand Cruz, who's come out of the pack since Christmas. I don't think the World Hurdle this year looks as good as it was the last couple of years, really. And I know Big Bucks is another year older, but at the end of the day, he's done absolutely nothing wrong. He's gone to 5 to 4 for doing nothing wrong. I think that's an absolute steal with Hills at 5 to 4. I never thought I'd see the day that he was in the World Hurdle, not odds on, to be honest with you. But I suppose you've got to get beat sometimes, the likes of Barracuda did stuff like that over the years. But I'm happy to take 5 to 4 on Big Bucks. The horse is a machine. They're still talking about it for a Gold Cup. He's not an old horse, you know what I mean? Like with the likes of Barracuda I just mentioned, who was getting older. That price is fantastic. Also, for an each way, Muir from Ireland, he's done nothing wrong this year. Run very well. But once again, Big Bucks has just got the engine for it. The obviously young pretender as it will be is Grand Cruise, currently 9 to 4. Very impressive winner of the Cleve Hurdle, I think it was, not so long ago. Though I did take heed of what Tony McCoy says, who's ridden both the Big Bucks and Grand Cruise. He races with the chokeout, and I just think last time he was that much better than them. He raced very free, he got himself to the front, and then that was that really. He'd done enough in that part of the race coming down the hill towards 2 out to actually seal the race there. The fact of the matter is, though, I don't think, even if he rode the same type of race, I don't think he'd get Big Bucks off the bridle, and I think that's the difference. I think if it comes to a battle at the end, he does race free. I think Big Bucks will just have that much more up his sleeve. We also found out today Zanar is going for the World Hurdle rather than the Champion Hurdle. I personally don't think he's going to see out the trip. 2.5 miles, he seems to run on a bit, but we're talking 3 mile with the hill at the end. I'm not convinced. So I'm happy to take 5 to 4 on Big Bucks in the World Hurdle. But if you're looking for an each way priced, Muir at 10s. The fifth race of the day is the Byrne Group Plate. I'm only going to briefly mention this because once again there's a load of horses who have been entered in multiple races really, so it's a hard one to pick out on. I do like the look of Copper Blur if it runs once again for Philip Hobbs. He's got good course form, comes to life in the spring and looks to be on a decent mark. Also Hey Big Spender, looks like the last couple of races he's starting to come back into a modicum of form. He likes the course. I know he fell last year, but he does like the course, and he's currently around 20 to 1. Could be worth looking at. Also, Rock Noir's done very little wrong, though at the moment, I'm happy to say have a watching brief on Copper Blur, though look at this a lot closer to the time because there's a lot of handicap chasers, so you just don't know where it's going to go. And the same applies to the Kim Muir, the 6th race. This is the race for amateur riders. Some of the prices of these horses that have won this in the years have been massive again, largely because nothing against them. It is an amateur rider race. For that reason, one I do like the looks of. He's currently around 8 to 1. He's junior. He's should have a good amateur on board for this race, and races usually from the front. Now, I think that's important with amateur races because it's easier to dictate it from the front than come from miles off the pace, to be honest with you. So a watching brief on junior at 8 to 1 in that one. So once again to recap, Juzan Novice Chase, either Wishful Thinking at 5 to 1 or Captain Chris, whichever one runs. The Pertemps Final, Sivota of Willie Mullins at 10 to 1. The Ryanair Chase, Tranquil Sea at 6 to 1. The World Hurdle, Big Bucks at 5 to 4. Byrne Group Plate, watching brief on this, but keep an eye out for Copper Blur if it runs. And finally the Kim Muir Junior at 8 to 1. I hope you enjoyed this third instalment of this. Thanks for some of you for posting some comments on it. It's nice to see some of your tips, etc., that have come in. A couple of things which have upset the apple cart since the first 2 videos. I mentioned a couple of times Hell's Bay. I don't know if anyone knows, he's out the festival now. He's done a suspensory ligament in, so he's going to be out for the season, which is a big blow. Also, Keys, who are tipped up each way in the champion bumper, is also out injured now as well. So just an eye on those in case you're doing your anti-posts or anything like that. But there you go. A few more days to go. So either tomorrow or Friday I will come up with the 4th and final instalment for this year's Cheltenham Festival. And I'll also, at the end of that, give my view on what I think will be a good Yankee to do across 4 races of the festival. And on the current prices, what the estimated payout would be to £1. Okay, thanks very much for watching, and as always, post any comments you want, and I'll see you soon. Bye.